Welcome to Grounding Elevation, the podcast for open minds and open hearts to dig a little deeper and ascend a little higher on a quest to tap into our limitless potential, mind, body, and soul. I'm Carrie Ann Jean, mom, wife, daughter, sister, artist, writer, learner, rebel, entrepreneur, psychology enthusiast. I have a deep passion for self-improvement that has sent me down many roads of growth and learning and unlearning. I believe that God, universe, whatever you call the highest power, the source from where we all have come from, it speaks, and it all but yelled at me to do this podcast. This is my leap of faith in spite of my insecurities and self-doubt and humanness. So here we go. Join us weekly as we embark together on a grounding elevation. Hello, friends. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. One of the first things that I get questions about when it comes to just elevating your wellness from a physical body standpoint is where to start. And it can be really overwhelming. So I kind of have a system that I recommend when someone says that they would like to lower their toxic load, and they're just not sure where to start. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today, is lowering our overall toxic load. Now, I want to preface this episode by saying we live in a toxic world and there's really no way around that. If you're like me and you have somewhat of an obsessive mind or perfectionistic tendencies, it can be very easy to try to have no toxins, right? Like do everything perfect, eat everything perfect, all your products, have perfect ingredients, right? That level of perfection and lack of toxicity, truly, I don't think it's attainable, really, in this world. I really don't think it's attainable. And I think it can be even more toxic to our body from an energetic standpoint to try to shoot and obsess over everything, because there's a level of fear there, right? Like, oh no, what if I have a toxic ingredient in this or in that? Oh no, what if this has fragrance or something in it that's not good and I still use that product, right? It's very easy to obsess. And then once you get into that obsessive state where you're trying to do everything perfect, it's also easy to spiral into like not living your life. Like, oh, I can't go there to this particular place because there's too many toxins, or I can't let my kids swim in the pool because, there's too many toxins and the chlorine, and, oh, I can't, go on this vacation because what if the hotel we stay at doesn't use all perfectly clean products? Like, it can spiral so far out of control. And that level of obsession, it breeds that stress hormone, right? Because it's impossible to control everything, which is so annoying, especially to someone like me who really enjoys controlling what I can control and trying to control what I cannot control sometimes when I, lose grip on that aspect of myself. So I really want to preface this by saying there is no perfect toxin-free life. We live in a toxic world, and the good news, the great news, is that our bodies are amazing. They're so resilient. They're incredible. Now, the general way that people live, generally American culture especially, is so toxic. And the reason that we're seeing so many issues and there's been such a push for, lessening our toxic load is because we're overwhelming our bodies at this point. If we aren't aware at all of the toxins in our environment and in our world, if we have absolutely no awareness, that's when we get into trouble, because we're being exposed to so much and we're not able to control what we control and make, less toxic choices. There are ways to lower your toxic load in general. So that's what this is about. It's about lowering our toxic load so that our bodies can do what they're designed to do, which is be resilient, which is to, protect our organs and continually cleanse our blood and, clear out our system. And our bodies are beautifully and perfectly designed in a way that our bodies can heal itself. Our bodies have the mechanisms to heal when necessary. But when we're overloading our system with constant toxins, like I think I talked about this in our last inflammatory foods episode, when you have 1,000 fires, your 100 firefighters trying to put out 1,000 fires inside your body, they're going to be a lot less effective than if you had less fires, right? Less inflammatory responses going on in your body. And that all comes down to lowering our toxic load. So this is not about perfection. This is not about being the most not toxic, right? I think, I'll probably do a whole episode on the toxicity of thought patterns that can sometimes permeate the, quote unquote non-toxic world culturally. But today I just want to help guide you if you are in this place of like, hey, like I know that I'm exposed to a lot of toxins on a daily basis. I know that I am not aware of most of the places that these toxins are coming from. And I just want to be more conscious, more aware so that I can make better choices. If that's you and you don't know where to start, you're feeling overwhelmed, this episode is for you. So you will find, no, this is probably an overwhelming statement. You will find toxins pretty much everywhere. So when someone says, I'd really like to start, trying to clean up my life as far as toxins are concerned, I usually say to start with the essentials, right? Like, what does our bodies need to survive? We need 1, air, 2, water, and some kind of fuel source, right? Food. So we talked about inflammatory foods a couple episodes ago. If you missed that episode, definitely go check it out. There's a lot of great info there as far as being conscious and mindful of the foods that can be more inflammatory. We'll do many more episodes on different ingredients and foods and such. And I hope to have some experts come on and offer some insight on, more nitty-gritty stuff. But the first place that I would start after your food, after being mindful of your food and what you eat and what you buy, is going to be your air and your water. So if you don't have an air filter, I would look into it. There are various different air filters with various different levels of filtering, I guess you could call it. I have an air doctor. If you can afford to put an air filter in every room in your house, that's awesome. But it's not necessarily necessary. You can have one air filter and move it around. You can get less expensive air filters and put them around. I mean, they're kind of clunky, honestly, most of them. Another thing besides actual air filter, like units, we have one air doctor that we keep in our bedroom. For me, my thought process with that is our most rejuvenating time when our body is doing the most healing is when we're asleep. So I'd love for our air, the air that we're breathing while we sleep, to be as pure as possible while our body is doing the heavy work of healing. So that's just my thought process. You can also, most of these actual physical like units, air filters, you can move around to different rooms in your house. Another thing to be mindful of are your HVAC filters. So your intake units in your house for your HVAC have a filter. My husband is religious about changing our air filters. And if you get a really high quality one, just get the highest that you can find. That's going to make a big difference in all the air going through your whole house, because it's going to filter out more than, maybe like the cheapest, or if you're like one of those people who didn't even know that their HVAC has, their intake has a filter that needs to be changed, you'll see a big difference in the air quality for that. So that's air. I think the most important thing we can do is filter our water, and here's why. Our water is treated, right? As long as you're on city water, county water, whatever, your water is treated with chlorine, with different pH type chemicals. And that's not because, everyone's trying to kill us. I mean, kind of, but it's because, way back in the day, people were dying because of bacteria and viruses and nasty-ish inside the water supply. And so the fact that our water is treated, and it's treated water that comes to our homes in running water, that's actually amazing. That is an advancement, right? That is one of the reasons that so many diseases have fallen off the face of the planet, is because of hygiene and running water and treated water. Now, here's the problem. You don't want to drink chlorine. We're glad that it's cleaning our water and it's killing any nasty bacterias and all of that. We're happy about that, but that's not what you want to drink. It's not what you want to bathe in. And that's just one element of what our water is treated with. So, you'll also find a lot of fluoride in our water. Now, the debate on whether fluoride is good for you or not, I'm on the side of not. I don't think if it gives any benefit to your teeth, okay, we don't need to be drinking gallons and gallons of it. And my personal standpoint is it's not as good for our teeth as it is bad for our brain. So, I have a problem with fluoride being in our water. There's also a lot of heavy metals found in our water. There's trace amounts, maybe not trace amounts in some places. There's, residual pharmaceuticals found in our water. There's a lot of stuff besides a little bit of grit and sentiment, the standard fridge, refrigerator filter that you get with your fridge is literally filtering out sentiment 99% of the time. Sometimes they'll filter out some chlorine. But my best advice is to get a badass water filter. The amount of water that we should be drinking to feel good and to feel strong and to feel healthy and for our blood to flow the way it should and for our body to be fully hydrated and for our skin to feel good and our hair to feel good and our organs to work properly. We don't want to make the main filter system us, if you know what I mean. We have filtering organs. We do. That's why I say our bodies are resilient, but I don't want the main filter of some really toxic sludge in my water to be my organs. I'd really rather filter before it reaches my organs, and just, save my body that extra toxic load. Now, in our home, we have a full home filtration system. It's awesome. I can taste the difference. I can literally feel the difference if the filter gets turned off for some reason and I taste the water that naturally, just regular tap water. It's very, very evident. I can taste the fluoride. I can taste the chlorine. And I can't even taste all the other things that are coming into the house. But when you have a full home filtration system, meaning that all the water that enters your home is filtered, when you have a situation like that, it's really awesome because now you're not bathing in those toxins. You're not showering in those toxins. You're not washing your hands in those toxins. It never even comes through the faucets in your home. Which is awesome. I really appreciate it. Now, something I do notice is our toilets will get dirty a little faster. The toilet bowl water, I'll notice there's residue a lot quicker than when we didn't have a filtration system. And that's because chlorine is not constantly flowing through those pipes. It's not constantly flowing into the toilet bowl, essentially. Which is essentially cleaning. And that just kind of makes me happy because I'm like, man, we could be drinking cleaning product essentially, which is so nasty. So love a water filtration system. There are a lot of really great options. There's a ton of great water filter options. I will link some and post some on our Instagram page. I'll even try to put some ideas in the show notes if you want to check them out. But you kind of get what you pay for when it comes to a water filter. And for me, I mean, that's just something I'm not willing to mess with when it comes to, giving water to my 2-year-old daughter. I'm not really interested in feeding her like chlorine, like sludge, like toxic sludge. So water is the second thing. Now, when it comes to the products in your home, this is usually where people get really overwhelmed. There's so many ingredients in everything. It's so annoying. But there's some really cool apps out there. And I mentioned these in the inflammatory foods episode as well. There's some really cool apps out there that allow you to scan your products and it'll give it a rating. And the two apps that I've found, the Yuka app, Yuka, it's got a little carrot as the icon, and the EWG app, they both use the standard of the EU. So they're using the European standards. Now, the European standards, they have banned thousands and thousands on thousands of ingredients from being added to our body products and our food. And I say our, but it's not our. Their people's food in Europe. America has only banned 11. So what's allowed into our body products and allowed into our food is such a vast amount of chemicals. So we actually have to be the gatekeeper. Our government, our government agencies, all these people that you've been led to believe are here to keep you safe and would never allow something that's toxic or harmful to humans on the market, or would never allow that into our homes or into our stores. If that doesn't give you a clear picture that that's not the case, that the EU has banned thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of chemicals from being added to their food, to their body products. America has banned 11. Okay. That's thousands and thousands less than the EU. And the reason that they have banned these chemicals in other countries is because they have proven to be harmful to humans. They've been proven to be carcinogenic. They've proven to be toxic to humans. So, these apps will use the EU standard rather than the American standard. And that's going to give you a much clearer picture of what's actually toxic and what is poison to you and your family and your body. The great thing about these apps is it makes it so you don't have to know every ingredient that's ick, right? Like, you don't need to know every single ingredient that is terrible. You can just put it into this app and the app will kind of like rate it. The only thing that I don't agree necessarily with that the app says is fine are fragrances. So artificial fragrance, when you see in an ingredient list, fragrance or perfume, right? Any of those words, there's thousands of chemicals that fall under that category, and all they have to put is fragrance or perfume in the ingredient list. So that one ingredient could mean literally thousands of different chemicals are also included in those ingredients under the category of fragrance or perfume. And most of these chemicals that make up artificial fragrance are known to be endocrine disruptors. So we're talking fertility, we're talking period problems, we're talking the very delicate hormonal balance. So that's something to really keep in mind. I honestly cut out as much fragrance as I possibly can. I don't say I've cut out all fragrance, because every once in a while I'll find something like a hand soap or something, and I'm like, how did this get in this house? How did I buy this? And it still has fragrance in it. But the less exposure you have to fragrance, the more sensitive to it you'll become. We kind of become nose blind. So our society, our culture is so over fragranced. It's insane. In our laundry detergents, in our cleaning products, in our body sprays, in our perfumes, in our deodorants, in our lotions, and our body washes and soaps and shampoos and everything, right? Everything has fragrance or perfume in it. And because of that, we've like overloaded our poor little noses. So we're not really smelling things properly anymore. And things that smell like nice and light and good, it's like you don't even smell them because your nose is broken, essentially, when you're constantly exposed to these artificial fragrances that are unnatural, right? They've bumped up the caliber of, if you're looking at like on a scale from 1 to 10, like nature's on a heavy point, like an orange, right, would smell like a 10. Our artificial fragrances are at like 100, right? They've like overexposed us to these scents. So we're essentially nose blind, and we keep having to get stronger and stronger scents of different things in order to be able to even smell anything. It's like we've done the same with our taste buds with the artificial flavors. So something to keep in mind is at first you're going to be like, oh, I miss my, whatever, Febreze. Oh, if you're using Febreze, please stop. Or whatever. But over time, once your nose can like detox off of all the artificial fragrances and perfumes, you'll find that natural smelling things like coconut and essential oils and things like that are going to be, they're going to smell a lot nicer, and they're going to smell a lot stronger to you because you haven't like destroyed the senses in your nose. Same goes for taste buds with the artificial flavors. Another thing about the apps that I don't necessarily love, but at the same time, like I get, is if a product is fragranced or scented with natural essential oils, which is what I personally look for. I would rather have natural essential oils only. And you have to be careful because some things say scented with natural essential oils. And then you look at the ingredients and it says this oil and that oil. At the very bottom, it says fragrance. So they still put fragrance in it. Just because they also put essential oils doesn't necessarily mean they only put essential oils, which is one of their tricks and is very annoying. That's called greenwashing. Anyways, back to it. The apps will say, like there's potential for allergy with essential oils. They'll rate essential oils on the allergy scale sometimes. Certain ones like lemon and I don't know, a few other ones. They usually rate essential oils, if they're in an ingredient list, as like a potential allergy reaction. Now they do this because essential oils are extremely strong. That's not necessarily the case when diluted into products. However, they are using the EU standard, and that is how the EU rates things. And they consider the potential for an allergic reaction higher with an essential oil than they do with maybe a different type of fragrance or a chemical fragrance or like an unscented situation. So that's just something to look out for, just because it says, oh, orange peel oil rates on the allergy side. Oh, you could have an allergy to this, or it could cause an allergic reaction. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to, and it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a product you don't want to buy. That's kind of up to you, but keep that in mind. So when it comes to your products, and I have yet to have a friend actually take my advice, but my advice is this. When you decide you want to start finding out what how the body products that you have or your cleaning products or whatever in your home, how they rate on these apps, don't go through your house and scan everything at once. Okay. Don't go through everything, scan everything at once, throw everything out, and then you have to go buy new of everything. There's a couple of reasons that I recommend this. Now, like I said, I have yet to have a friend take my advice, because as soon as I tell people about these apps and like we have a conversation about toxins, the first thing that, my friends will do is they literally go home and scan everything they own and then flip out and then call me and like, holy poop, I'm killing myself. What did I do? Like, what did I do? Why am I toxifying myself with all of this stuff? I need to get new of everything. What do I get for this? What do I get for that? First of all, that gets really expensive, because unfortunately, the products that aren't filled with a bunch of toxic sludge are a bit more expensive, if not a lot more expensive, than the products that are toxic poop. Okay. So if you were to throw out everything that you own, as far as like body products, hair products, cleaning products, all those things in your house, right? You throw it all out at the same time, it's going to be very expensive to replace all of it with non-toxic options or less toxic options. So that's one reason I tell people not to scan everything they own at one time. 2, it can be extremely overwhelming. And you can either go, oh my gosh, everything is toxic, whatever, I'm not even going to look at this anymore because it's too much for me. And I'm just going to bury my head in the sand and just know that my whole world is toxic and I don't even want to know anything anymore. You could go that way, where you just avoid it altogether. Or 2, you could go the opposite way, where you're so filled with anxiety and fear and you flip out and you're overwhelmed and you do what my friends have done in the past, where they call me and they're like, I don't know what to do. You have to send me a new body wash. You have to send me a new shampoo. You have to send me a new everything, because I don't know what to do with myself right now. Start small. Like the way that I did it, I didn't even know about the app until I was kind of a bit into my journey of trying to lower the toxic load. So I'd kind of already switched out different products for cleaner things. But the way I recommend doing it is, when you run out of something, when you go to buy something new, that's when I would scan it, see kind of what you're dealing with, how not great is it, and then make a decision from there. Go from there, instead of scanning everything you own in the whole house and then flipping out. Just as you run out of things before you buy a new one, right? You just ran out of laundry detergent. Finding a great laundry detergent that is non-toxic is very difficult in the store. So, hey, look, I'm running low on my blue dyed fragrance heavy Tide. Okay. I would like to switch to a cleaner option. Go down the rabbit hole of looking for a new detergent, of finding cleaner options or more non-toxic options. Maybe, if it was just me and my daughter's clothes that I was washing, I could easily, do like an unscented detergent, right? Or like a cleaner unscented detergent. I have a wonderful husband who does a lot of working out. His profession is very much workout heavy. He sweats a lot. Okay. And there's the workout clothes, like there's a certain material that, like polyester, or I don't know what material it is, but it just gets stinky. It's not even like his smell that's stinky. It's just like the clothes. And like anybody who works out and has this material clothes, like, what I'm talking about. It just, over time, it just gets stinky. And so you have to be able to have something that smells good. And there's something really rewarding about smelling fresh laundry that smells good. So, um, we found that the Truly Free laundry detergent was amazing. Some people absolutely swear by it. It has a cult following. We love it. Some people can't stand it. They don't like it. They don't think it works, whatever. It's the only clean laundry detergent that I've found that has worked really well. But there's a lot of different, I wouldn't say a lot. There's a handful of different brands. Most of them, though, you have to get online. So by kind of doing your research just before you're about to run out of something, you can then order something online, instead of just being at the mercy of whatever's in the aisle at Walmart or Target or wherever you get your stuff. But if you take it one thing at a time, I just ran out of my body lotion. Like, what's a cleaner option of that? Like, maybe I want to make my own. Maybe I want to look into, a different company. I've personally just found, I haven't just found them, but they've expanded their products a lot over the last few years. Row Casa Organics. I don't have a affiliation or anything with any of these companies, but Row Casa does a really great job of only using natural things, only using essential oils for scents, and they're the first natural shampoo and conditioner that I found that actually cleans my hair and smells great and isn't loaded with, toxic sludge, and it's pretty decently priced. But they're an online retailer, so you have to order things online. They also have body butters that are amazing that I just started using, that I'm a big fan of. So a lot of the cleaner options, especially when it comes to body products, are going to be found online rather than, being at the mercy of what's available in the aisles in Walmart and Target. Furthermore, a lot of the clean brands that I have actually found over time, that end up, getting big enough, getting successful enough, getting, enough clout to be in Target and Walmart. One, they end up either selling out, and I don't mean selling out like, oh, you're such a sellout, man. I mean like literally selling their company to a big box other company who then very quietly changes the ingredients. And that is not uncommon. That's actually a pretty common practice. As long as you are not changing more than 30% of the ingredients of a product at a time, you do not have to advertise that on your packaging. You don't have to tell anybody. You can just change the ingredients and change the ingredients that are on the package insert. But that means, you go through all this work, right? I found this product that I love, this body wash that I love. They don't use fragrance. They only use essential oils. Awesome. Yay me. Cool. I start seeing it in Target. Wow. I start seeing it in Walmart. This is great. And I'm not every single time I go to buy the product that I already found that I like, I'm not reading the ingredients every single time. But I found that I think it was my husband that pointed out to me. He was like, this has fragrance in it, right? And I was like, no, it doesn't. That's why I buy from this company. They don't use fragrance. He's like, it says it right on the bottle. Because he smelled it and he was like, wow, it smells really strong. And so he went and read the ingredients and he was like, yeah, they're using fragrance. So they very quietly just decided to start using fragrance and take away the essential oils and didn't change the packaging, didn't change anything. And that happens a lot more frequently. It happened with my laundry detergent that I had gotten at, I think it was called the Ninth Element. I got it at Walmart. It was the only clean one that I could find at Walmart and Target. And over time, I kept buying this one, and then I started feeling like it smelled a lot stronger. Look at the ingredients. They very quietly changed the ingredients, started putting fragrance, stopped using essential oils because it's cheaper to make, I'm sure. So you have to kind of really be diligent about that kind of thing. And that's another reason I like to buy from smaller brands that are online, that are not in these big stores. And I get the convenience factor. Trust me, there are many things I sacrifice on just for the sake of convenience. And that's just, you pick and choose your battles. Um, but body products, fragrance, things like that, that's something that I personally have put a hard stop on. And, it does take more work to order online and know when you're about to run out, not you're already out kind of a situation. But that amount of intentionality to me is worth it to keep certain ingredients out of our home. So if you're just getting started on your journey and, oh, look, I'm out of hand soap, I'm going to look into a hand soap. Or, oh, my laundry detergent is almost gone. Or, oh, my dishwasher detergent is almost gone. That would be a great time to look into cleaner options for that. Or just scan what you have and see, you don't want to scan everything all at once. And then, I feel like maybe I scanned too many things and I had to just like bite the bullet because, my husband especially is like a no waste person. Like he can't stand waste. Like, so if I were to take like a full bottle of laundry detergent and throw it out because it's toxic sludge, like in our home, it's like if you've already purchased it, like it's kind of too bad. You're going to have to use it. You're going to have to use the rest of it and then we can get something new, which I totally agree with. We don't want to be wasteful. So scan things as you're running out and you can kind of switch and make cleaner options. I'll also put on our Instagram, I'll share some Instagram accounts that are so helpful that have a ton of resources for clean swaps and just make it so easy to find brands and products that are either a little bit better or, one of the best you can find on the market. Whatever, they just break it down so simply. And that's where I've gotten a lot of my nudges to look into certain companies, and look into certain brands and look into certain products that are maybe more on the clean side. So I hope this was helpful. We'll go, down the rabbit hole of the nitty-gritty of particular toxins, particular products. Overall, for me, one of my big ones for body products, like I said, is fragrance or perfume, artificial fragrance. I love essential oils. They're amazing. They smell incredible. And if you smell them enough, you'll burn your nose just like you do with artificial fragrance, but it's just a different vibe. Oh, that's another great swap. If you have those like Glade plug-in type things, Febrezes, things like that, you are already like over polluting your air. So if you're going to keep using those, I really wouldn't worry about getting an air purifier because your air purifier is never going to be able to purify all of the artificial fragrance out of your home until you get those out of your home. Plug-ins, Febrezes, sprays, all like the air, it's like even candles. I'm sorry. I know like candles have a cult following. That was a really hard one for me too. But filling your home with essential oil diffusers has been literally the best thing that I've done in this like less toxic space, right? It's essential oil. Each essential oil has its own benefits emotionally and, it has its own wellness benefits by itself and it smells great. One of my favorite things to do if I just need a little happy, like a little pick me up, or I'm just in a good mood, or if I'm in a bad mood and I need to turn it around, is just to fill all my diffusers with something that smells amazing. And I'll have a lot of ideas. I'll post a lot of ideas on our Instagram this week, and I'll try to put some in the show notes as well for options for essential oils. But Amazon, has some great essential oil diffuser options that will help you to replace any like Glade plug-in, wax burning, Febrezing, any of those Gain, Glade, any of those guys. Easiest swap for that is essential oil diffusers. They're my absolute favorite, and they just make me so happy when I get to fill them up and just smell the house smelling amazing. So use the apps, go slow. It's not going to be perfect. But any small incremental change, if you just continually make little changes here and there, you're going to find that you are lowering your toxic load in an immense way. And little bits over time make the biggest difference, because sometimes it's too hard to change everything all at once and it's not sustainable. It's taken me years and years and years, and I'm still like, oh, yeah, that ingredient probably isn't great. Maybe we should swap it out for this or that or whatever. So the swapping can happen slowly, as you're able, as you're willing, as you're interested. Different ingredients I'll find beefs with personally. New ingredients join my SHIT list. I don't know why I'm spelling it. There's no one here. My daughter might listen to this. Yes, different ingredients join my ish list on a daily basis. Or rather like a monthly basis. I'm like, oh, well, I don't like that anymore. Can't do that. But the main ones for me are fragrance that I look for, and dyes that I look for. Artificial dyes, very bad. Very, very bad. If you can decrease the amount of artificial dyes coming into your home, especially in your food, especially if you have kids, that's ideal. So with all that being said, I hope this was helpful. I hope this will help you have an idea of how to start lowering your toxic load for yourself and for your family. I am happy to give suggestions on different things, and I would love for us to connect on Instagram. Find us at Grounding Elevation. Until next time, I love you. Ciao.